right, so welcome to the live stream. Today we're going to be doing some Akashic Records readings. And if you want to do one, then just reach out and we'll get you set up with one. How's it going, everyone? We're just getting started with some Akashic Records readings. So I'm going to go live on TikTok right now as well. But how's it going? Array of positive light. Nice to see you. My name's Chris. I don't know if you follow me from here, if you just stumbled across my live, but it's nice to meet you. Hey guys. So for these readings, I'm doing donation-based readings for people as they come up. People will donate and then I tune in with them and we do a reading of, if you check in the description, you can see everything. But we tune into what is your soul's current life lesson, who's draining you in your life, and then what are you ready to release in your life. So those are the three main things that I look for, but also sometimes I get other interpretations. Basically, with intuitive readings, it's not like you get really clear facts. You basically decipher different textures and understandings, and you basically interpret. It's kind of like interpreting meaning from art. You can interpret the energy and the message that's coming from somebody's soul. And in doing that, you're able to tell them things that maybe their conscious mind is not aware of. It's kind of like if your nose is too close to the painting, you can't really see it. That's how most people are, even very intuitive people with their own soul, because they live in their own soul, so they can't really see it. But from an outside perspective, especially for me, because I've worked with hundreds of clients and I do this as a full-time living, I'm able to really understand what I'm seeing to a really high degree. So it doesn't mean that I'm 100% right all the time, but I am able to give people a really good indication of the direction they should be going in. So we're just getting started for now, but for now we're just kind of hanging out. And then if you guys have any questions or anything, just ask them in the chat and we can get the Q&A portion going. All right. One thing that I've been working on a lot lately is working with different energetic vortexes, like land vortexes. So everywhere on Earth has a different frequency. And if you can tune into the frequency of where you're at, you can actually lift the frequency. And it doesn't even matter if you're in a very low frequency place or if you're in a very high frequency place, you can always add to the frequency and uplift your surroundings. And the places I recommend going to do this are to go to either sacred temples or places that are already very blessed, like maybe go to a Buddhist temple or even a church where people pray a lot. And if you go there, you can really activate a lot of high vibrational energy and it can shift the vibration. It can shift the vibration of the whole surroundings. People around will literally have different thoughts because of the energy that you shifted. They won't know that you did it, but they'll actually be positively influenced because thoughts are not actually from our own choice. They emanate from different energetic fields. So when we're in a certain energetic field, we emanate more of a certain type of thought. So if you can shift the energetic field around, you can actually help people think more positive without even knowing them or without even seeing them. Just by blessing a place Like it could be a natural landmark, like maybe a beautiful waterfall or a forest, or it can be something more like an architectural beautiful thing, like something that somebody built. My favorite is to go to old temples where there's a lot of holy energy there. Yeah, those are my favorite places. So I noticed that when I go to different places and bless the energy there, then I actually have better karma for myself. And I know it sounds kind of crazy, but I actually feel like more blessings come to my life just from meditating in certain areas. So yeah, I'm just hopping on to do some Akashic records readings for people. Basically, what that is I help people understand their soul's current lesson, which a lot of people they think their soul is trying to learn a particular thing, like they think they're trying to manifest a bunch of money, but their soul actually wants them to work on their inner child healing. And when they're stuck trying to figure out how to make money, but and their soul is trying to get them to do inner child healing, they get to a place in their life where nothing really progresses. And if you just understand the level that you're on or the lesson that your soul is trying to teach you, then you can follow that instead of trying to do what your ego wants to do. You can listen to your soul and you can figure out what your actual next step is, which could be inner child healing or healing the mother wound, or could be healing an ancestral block, or it could be, a myriad of different things. But you want to be doing something that's in alignment with your soul. And that's what people mean by alignment. They don't mean do the perfect thing every day. That's not alignment. Alignment is when your human self and your spiritual self are working together, when they're not fighting each other. You know, I'd say that's like the main thing. That's what alignment is when the higher version of yourself, your spirit and your higher self, are on the same page as the human and the conscious mind, and even a little bit the ego. Yeah, Seeker says, can we ask questions? Go ahead. This is, an open Q&A for anybody that wants to ask any spiritual question. And I'm not saying I'm the spiritual authority. I just have had a lot of very powerful spiritual experiences, and I work as a spiritual mentor. So I'm able to kind of understand a lot of similar patterns that people go through, because, people think they're so different from other people, but there's really like 10 different patterns that people get stuck in. And most people are stuck in probably three patterns, which is scared to express themselves, um, scared to face everything that's going on in their subconscious, or let's see, off the top of my head, what do I see a lot? Um, Stuck in their comfort zone and just not willing to feel bad, in a not willing to feel kind of discomfort and pain. I'd say that's probably the biggest thing that I see in people, is they want to do a lot, but they can't withstand discomfort and pain. And so they stay stuck in this paradigm of wanting it to feel really good, but it's only supposed to feel good like half the time. The other half the time, it kind of feels a little bit excruciating to follow your dreams. This is like a good indicator of if you're actually following your dreams. It doesn't feel amazing every single day. It feels amazing some days, like out of this world amazing. But other days it feels very excruciating and like overwhelming. And it feels like you're getting destroyed and ripped apart from the inside and restructured into something new. It's not necessarily the most fun thing to experience. But a lot of people think that the journey of following their dreams is just them having a lot of fun and manifesting good things. And then when they encounter challenges, they get frustrated and they're like, it's not working. But to me, that's part of it. You're supposed to experience those hardships and those blockages because that's what sculpts you into the person that you need to be in order to handle the thing that you're asking for. A lot of people can't handle that they're not quite ready for what they're asking for. And they need to actually become someone new to receive what they're asking for. You can ask for something small, and it probably will not take that long to shift into that identity. And it doesn't need to take years to shift an identity in a big way either. It just can tend to be a little more difficult for people, you know? So Seeker asks, as per my AR, for what reasons did I decide to reincarnate in this lifetime? What kind of work, source of income is in alignment with my soul purpose? So this, it could be a lot of stuff, right? For this question, I'm not like tuning in and tapping in intuitively. I'm just going to answer it from a more grounded place. You got to just try stuff, and your heart will tell you what is meant for you. You'll feel a buzzing, and you'll feel very clear and present, and you'll want to keep doing that thing. And there are also periods of time where you're kind of supposed to feel lost. And I know that's kind of hard to hear, probably, right? But there are actually times when you're kind of supposed to feel lost. And it's not even a bad thing that you're feeling lost. Some people are lost for the wrong reasons. They're unwilling to face themselves. They're unwilling to change certain things. They're unwilling to move forward and let go. But other people, they're trying to do all of that, and they still feel lost. And for those people, honestly, you're just in that phase of life where you're lost in the desert, right? That's like a common spiritual theme. It's almost like an aspect of the dark night of the soul. You're kind of lost in the desert, and it's okay. Sometimes it takes months or years to get out of it. I would say, you know, the best thing to do is just to continue trying and exploring the magnificent opportunities that you have in life, because there's so much opportunity and there's so much complexity. There's so many different things you could do, different things you could become, different ways you could help people, you know. And life is kind of about exploring that, finding a way to live in harmony and be beneficial to others, but also live in a way that makes you really happy. But yeah, and then the other thing with source of income, when we're really out of alignment, we really need to rely on jobs and things like that to stay supporting ourselves. But when we're deeply in alignment, we can find ways to earn money outside of jobs and make usually more than we could make in a job. But you have to know where you're at. You can't just think that in disharmony you can attract a bunch of money because you deserve it. You actually have to be in a deeply harmonic state where you're serving in a state of service, because money is related to service, right? Money doesn't grow on trees. Money is related to service. Money is related to other people feeling like you gave them value. So, people hate that really big influencers sometimes make a lot of money and they're like, they barely do any work. And which that is true in some cases, but it's not that it doesn't matter how much work they do. It matters how much value they add to a brand, and that's how much the brand pays them. So if they're able to add a bunch of value from making a stupid video, then they deserve all that money that they earn because they added that much value to the ecosystem. And someone was willing to part ways with 50K for that brand post because it benefited their brand maybe 500K worth. So you have to realize that money does not come to those who are the best person. It comes to the person that's benefiting others the most, or that's being perceived to be benefiting others the most. If you're doing it in alignment, it comes to you when you're benefiting others the most. But of course, a lot of people make money in very terrible ways, but it's perceived that they're adding value. And maybe they're adding value in ways that hurt people in other ways. But if you're doing something that's in alignment, then making more money is about adding more value. So if you want to learn how to make money, then you have to learn how to add value to people that have money. That's kind of the simple, short answer. If you have something that's valuable to someone that has money, then you can have money by trading. And that's basically what money is. A lot of people don't know what money is. Money is basically a way to trade. Money's just a way to barter, but you don't have to trade exact things. You can trade this intermediary device that connects rice to a baseball game ticket, right? Money can buy both of those things. So that's all money actually is a way to trade things. So if you have $1 million worth of value, but you haven't traded it for money yet, you're still basically a millionaire. Because you have $1 million worth of value. Just like if you had $1 million worth of gold, but you have zero cash, you're still a millionaire. So if you have $1 million worth of your own skill set to provide to others, then you're already a millionaire before you actually sell your services and do your business, because you actually have it within yourself. So you have to think about it like that. Like, even if you're broke, you have yourself and your skill set, and that is super high value because you can do stuff every day. Like, think about it, that people are constantly trying to pay you for your time in little ways, so you can go work for the business for minimum wage, but you can also use your time to make more money if you're actually making money for yourself. And it's not the easiest thing. And in the beginning, you probably won't be adding value to anybody, so you probably won't make money. But later on, you'll start adding a lot of value to people and you'll start making money. So that's kind of how business works. So with what Seeker was saying, looking for your source of income, if you feel like you're really in alignment and you have something to offer, I would try to build a business. If you have some skill set or some knowledge or some enthusiasm to share in some way that you can monetize, I would do that. But if you're in a position where you feel like you're kind of a little bit not yourself and you're not feeling happy, you kind of need to have a job or some sort of income to make money, because you can only add value when you're kind of crushing it in a certain area of your life. So you have to kind of work to that point and then figure out a way, and then life kind of moves you into the position to be able to make money off of something if it's very valuable and if you're confident enough in yourself. So yeah, for everyone that just joined, we're doing Akashic Records reading. So it's donation based. People can donate at the link in the description. And yeah, if you want one, then we're going over your soul's current lesson. So what are the main things that your soul is currently working through? We're working through what should you be releasing? And then we're also going to go over who is draining you, because a lot of people don't realize they're doing a lot of really good things in their life. They're building up a lot of positive energy, but they have energetic cords and other people are draining their energy. And it can be in the form of taking their time or taking their energy, or even, talking behind their back and just destroying them energetically. So it can be very powerful to know what's going on in your spirit. A lot of times we're too focused on the conscious and what we should do and what we should say, but that's only part of it. It's important to know what you should be doing and what you should say, but the spiritual level is, I'd say, 3 times as important as the physical in terms of manifesting. You still have to take action. You can't just sit around on a couch and meditate, but it's more important than the work you do. I swear. People don't realize this. You can do a lot less work, but you're in the right alignment and you'll actually earn more and get more success. And you can also work your ass off when you're kind of in a state of not really enjoying life, and then things just won't go your way, even though you're doing everything right. And I know you've all experienced something like that, where you're doing everything right and everything still goes wrong, but you kind of felt in your heart that even though you were doing everything right, something was off the whole time. Like you never fully believed that it was right. You never fully believed that it was actually alignment. Because when you're actually aligned, it's really obvious and you feel it, and it just feels very relaxing, you know? So, yeah. So that's what I would say is if you can find the alignment and you feel this like whimsical pull towards starting a business, then I would do that. But if you don't, it just means you're just not quite at the point where you're ready for that. And I wouldn't jump into it unless you feel that kind of whimsical pull. And also for people interested in going a little deeper, I'm offering free 30-minute clarity calls, which are one-on-one calls on Zoom, where we go over your exact life issues. And then I give you advice on what I think would be a good next step for you. And these are available at the link in the description or the link in my bio. So if you are interested in that, I'd love to chat with you on one of those calls. And then also we have a free community called Circle of Wisdom, where it's Zoom calls like this, and there are professional guides that are experts in several different areas of life, and you get free mentorship basically on Zoom. So with the free mentorship, you get 1 session per month, but you also get access to the group chat, which is really fun, and you meet a lot of other mystics and awakened people that are, and a lot of sensitives and empaths that are in the group. So it's really fun. Let's see if I can move this on here. Cool. Yeah. How's it going, Mia? How's it going, Prachi? And yeah, if you're enjoying the live, just click like or comment and engage. It really helps the live do well in the algorithm. What's one spiritual upgrade that you've experienced lately? I'd say one of my biggest spiritual upgrades lately is that I have surrendered a lot more from my nagging mind. I swear my mind used to destroy my life. Even when my life was going really good, my life would kind of be half bad because my mind would be terrorizing me. I don't know if anyone else experiences that, but I back in the day I was actually diagnosed with OCD. I'm not sure if I really identify with that diagnosis, but I was diagnosed with it like 6 or 7 years ago. And back then, my mind would basically attack me. It felt like my mind was like out to get me. That's how bad it really felt. And through meditation and energy work, I've gotten to the point where my mind is just my cheerleader, my support. It keeps me confident. It keeps me feeling calm. You know, you can't. I would never say I'm at like an enlightened point, because I'm not past the ego. I've just like balanced my relationship with my ego very well, where I really love my life and I really love the things I get to do every day. And yeah, but and I have very intense spiritual experiences and moments of, divine consciousness, but I still most of the time just feel like a normal happy guy, just like a normal happy fella. And I used to really be ridden, like I was tight with anxiety all the time. It was really terrible. I'd say breath work and energy work are the two things that saved my life, that took me from being insanely anxious and uptight all the time, total social anxiety, couldn't connect with people, just feeling like frustrated around people because I can't even feel normal, all the way to feeling completely free and effortlessly social, and I didn't even have to work on my social skills or anything. I just let go of my anxiety, and then it was just easy to talk again. Like little kids usually don't have social anxiety. It's not because they're so good at socializing, it's because they just don't care so much. They are just willing to express themselves. And a lot of adults lose that ability to express themselves freely. And you don't have any idea how much that messes with your emotional health when you're not expressing all the whims and feelings of your soul, when you're just trying to fit yourself into a box all day. Mia says, there was a total spiritual upgrade last week. I can't believe it. I did feel a spiritual upgrade last week too. So that's really cool. I don't know if it was astrology or if I know there was a new moon that was very powerful. And my girlfriend and I had very intense, energetic experiences, and a lot of just like stuff come up in like with our car, and like crazy, just like when life hits you with random bills and stuff. And Mia says, one would mind having balance with ego. I see. Yeah, yeah. You don't want to kill your ego. I feel like that doesn't work. I feel like the ego is the one that wants to kill the ego. Does that make sense? And so it doesn't work because it's trying to kill. It's, the ego needs to just kind of slowly dissipate and become balanced. We kind of need our ego. It's like part of us. It's part of us as a human. It's part of how we navigate the world. You don't want to live from your ego and like think you are your ego all the time. That's like when it gets toxic. But it's okay to have an ego, and sometimes it kicks in, and it's like a protection mechanism. Anna says, hi, what kind of questions can we ask? Really anything spiritual related. I'm a spiritual mentor, so I help people with meditation, breath work, energy work, connecting with their ancestors, connecting with their spirit guides, connecting with God, and just having an overall more aligned and blessed life. Because it's not that hard to live your life in alignment. Like, you don't have to be perfect to be in alignment. You can do kind of whatever you want as long as you're not going against yourself and going against nature. Nature has a path, God has a path, and when you're fighting that path, life kind of sucks. Even if you're being perfect on like the human level, like you're working out and being nice to people and all that, Life can still suck if you're out of alignment and in disharmony on the spiritual level. So, yeah, it's important to be relaxed spiritually. A lot of people are uptight spiritually, and that causes them to actually be in a lower vibration and cause them to have a lot of anxiety. Because being uptight is a form of anxiety, like perfectionism. It's a form of anxiety. Trying to be perfectly high vibrational is a form of anxiety too. Mia said, yes, ego is okay, I guess. Yeah, it's like ego in moderation, you know? We don't have to be perfect. We can have sort of an ego, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just when we latch onto our ego at the expense of like ruining our life, which happens to some people. You know, they won't let their ego go, so they ruin their friendships and relationships and career, you know? Anna said, can I ask about relationships with my special person? Are we soulmates? So for the Q&A, I'm just kind of answering questions like in a coaching format, but I'm also doing Akashic Records readings, but it's donation based. So there's got to be energy exchange for that. So if you wanted to do one where I'm going to actually meditate and tap into your spirit's blueprint, then we can do that as well. And there's a link in the description um, for the donation. But if you just want questions and coaching, I'm here to just give that freely. Let's see if I can make the lighting a little better. Yeah. So much of life is just about surrendering and listening really closely. A lot of people are so loud with their mind. Even when they're in a happy state, they're just loud. They talk about this and they plan this, and people struggle to just be kind of silent and hold space. But when you can be silent and just kind of hold space, then you leave room for really positive energies to come in. You leave room for really good ideas to pop up. You leave room for your guides that serve love to assist you. You leave room for messages from God and the universe about your path. So remember to leave a lot of space. You really want to leave a lot of space in life. Have time to just kind of chill. And not in a like purposefully chilling so I get a message type of way. You know, actually genuinely just letting go of thinking about life, your purpose, spirituality, all that, work, family, and just resetting. A lot of people never get to that space where they can reset. And I feel like that causes a lot of issues, you know? Causes people to be stuck in a mental world in their head where nothing can ever be 100% okay. Everything's either right or wrong, and it's just never fully right. But there's another part of us that already feels completely content. And in some traditions, they call that the observer or the watcher or the awareness. There's a part of you that is already content with what you have now, with how your life is. And that doesn't mean You're not going to do anything to benefit yourself. You're just going to sit on the couch. You're still going to work towards your dreams. You're still going to build up from what you have now. But what if you just didn't have that pressure of needing to? And it could just be easier. I'm offering a few free clarity calls for people that want to do a 30-minute Zoom session with me. So you can find that on all my profiles if that interests you. It's not for everybody. Little intense. It's a little intense. But if it does interest you, you know how to find that. And then also, if you guys have any other questions, any spiritual questions about manifestation, for the last 5 years, I've paid my rent off of spiritual work. So I think I'm a good example for how, even though I've been through lots of ups and downs, I've had moments of struggle and I've had moments of making tons of money. But I've learned how to flow with life really well. And I love sharing that with people, just kind of my journey and what I've been through. Mia says, yes, it makes sense. There's a part of me content somewhere all the time. Yes, that is it. That is the secret, honestly, to life. Is that part of you is always content, even when you're struggling, even when you're bored, even when you're going through something tough. Part of you is always content. And the more you can recognize that as you, the easier life gets. Because I hate to break it to you, as we all know, life doesn't stop being hard on the outside. It doesn't matter. Even if you get rich, you still might have health problems. You still might have relationship problems. Life never stops producing challenges. We can't live in the delusion that we're going to solve every challenge in our life. We're probably never going to solve every challenge in our life, realistically. If we do, we'll just make a new challenge. We won't be happy with it for some reason. But we can find the part of us that's actually already content with life. That's content with the journey we're on. It doesn't mean we're content, we're going to sit here and not move. It means we're content with the step that we're on. We're going to still take the next step, but we're content with taking this step now. A lot of people are so obsessed with their vision that they lose their life. And it's ironic because that pushes their vision farther away because their vision is so full of life. So how are you going to move towards being full of life by moving away from life? It doesn't make sense. If you want to manifest something powerful, you've got to intensify how your life is now. It's got to be this magical, beautiful thing now if you're going to intensify your life. If you're going to manifest something big, you can't think that going into the worst, most boring phase of your life is going to lead to the most successful. So the more we can tune into that part of us that's okay when things are kind of scary or uncomfortable or when there's conflict and tension between others, the more we can actually just push forward in the things we want to do in life and the things we're called to do because we're willing to stand in the discomfort that comes with it. And Mia said, I remember you're talking about meditation for this goal. We are awesome. Yeah. We are awesome. We're magical beings. We're magical spiritual beings that we're like, you know what? Let's use our magical spiritual ability to create a limited human experience that's also very magical. And now we're living that. That's what I think. I'm not here to ever push my beliefs on anyone, but I do think that we're all magical spiritual beings. I don't buy it that we're temporary, sad little beings that struggle and then die. I think we're magical beings that are on complex journeys, and we come to Earth to experience very magical, complex realities that trigger us in different ways and challenge us in other ways and reward us in other ways and help us grow in other ways. And I weirdly think that Earth is actually perfect as it is, and it's slowly becoming like a utopia. But I think people that try to rush Earth to being a utopia end up making it terrible. Like, look at history. Anyone that tried to make Earth into a utopia terribly failed. And usually they did something disgusting along the way. It's just how things are. Like, it's because if you think you can make Earth into a utopia, you are basically putting a middle finger to God. You're like, you failed. I need to make this Earth into a utopia because you failed as a god. You can't, that's a terrible thing to say. It's a terrible thing to put towards God to say that, you know? So we have to look at Earth and go, I trust it. This is how God meant it to be. So I'm not going to fight it and say that it's terrible. I'm going to say, oh, this is out of alignment and in total disharmony. But I trust that God is working its way out and going to fix it. If you think you need to make Earth into a utopia, it's basically you not trusting God. Or if you're more spiritual and you like different terminology, you're not trusting the flow of the universe. You're not trusting the alignment and harmony of the universe. So that's how I kind of live weirdly, is I think Earth is already a utopia. I think we're in these like perfect situations, but a lot of us are just playing out these old stories because we have to. But once we all let go of the stories, we'll wake up and go, we are in a utopia. This is beautiful. We can live in harmony already. It's so awesome here. I love life. And I think we'll actually realize that living in a human body on Earth already is a utopia. We just kind of messed it up a little bit, you know? And that's just my opinion. Because think about it in history, all the people that tried to make Earth into a utopia, it's not a, if you tell someone I'm going to make Earth into a utopia, people already instinctively are like, no, like that's not going to end well. That's probably going to go terribly. Because we all know where that leads. We don't need to bring Earth into a utopia. We need to just incrementally get better as human beings on the technological level, on the mental level, on the emotional level, on the health level, and we'll incrementally just like phase our way out of a lot of the issues that we already phase our way out of if you just look at history. Like we phase our way out of the major issues of humanity. Like every 100 years, we massively transcend the last limitations of humanity. So like a lot of people don't trust how a century looks. They're so worried about changing things this decade. You got to look at the century. You got to look at the 300 year. You got to look at the 250, the bicentennial or whatever. I don't know if that's what that is. You got to look bigger at the curves and trajectories of history if you want to understand what it means to help a society not monopolize funds and not marginalize communities. You have to look at it on the scale of hundreds of years. You can't look at it on the scale of decades because it takes decades for culture to start to shift, and it takes hundreds of years before people think something is obvious. Look how long it took for people to stop smoking cigarettes regularly. Like it took like 50 years from when this research came out. Like humans don't want to change. Their kids have to change it. That's kind of how it is. People will stick to whatever they grew up on, and then the kids go, what is this? I need to change it. And then they get stuck into something new, and then their kids go, why would you do that, Dad? You need to do this. And when society is functioning correctly, generation after generation, things just overall, we evolve out of certain negative trends. And you can't fight things away. You can still be loud and protest and speak your truth, but you can't expect to like force the world to change in any particular way. You can just speak your mind and speak your case, show that it's the best way. And eventually people follow on to the best way, because humans are not that stupid. We're kind of stupid, but we're not that stupid. We could be a lot more stupid, but we're less. We're less stupid than we could be. And we're less stupid than we were. Look at history. We learn slowly. I think people don't give humans enough credit. We're basically monkey species, like living on a rock. We're trying to figure it out. And I feel like if you give it like 300 years, I feel like humanity will look like what we would consider a utopia. And I bet if you showed society now to people 300 years ago, it would also look like what they would consider to be a utopia. And that's what things look like when they progress. And I think we're actually on a good trajectory. And I feel very optimistic about humanity, even though, what's happening now? Things are a lot better, but they're more visible. So we see how terrible they already have always been. And then we start to kind of think that it's new, but things were way worse when we couldn't see. Think about it. If the lights turn on, and what you saw when the lights turned on and when the roaches scattered is not quite the worst image of what probably happened there. Probably what the worst image of what probably happened there was in the dead of the night when no one flipped on the lights. So you have to understand, if you're seeing something, it's already not that bad, because it's a lot worse if it happens in the shadows. Do we realize that, like vibrational wise? If something's available for people to see and understand and recognize on a global scale, it's already a really good thing. It's a lot better than if it wasn't seen. And that's hard for people to grasp, and it's hard for people's hearts because you have to see it. But it's better that we're seeing the tragedies in the world now, because we're actually able to deal with it. When you don't look at it, you can't deal with it. And what humanity is going through right now is looking at it. It's probably what in the Bible they talked about, like the return of Christ is like the judgment. It's like when you have to look at all the shit that you've done. We have to look at how sick and twisted a portion of humanity is. And in general, how sick and twisted everyone is, because we've somehow let life become like this. Taking all responsibility in some way of what we create. We've let life become like that. So a lot of the theme of Age of Aquarius and the theme of our souls right now is we have to look at it. It's not nice to look at, but we got to look at it. You got to look at what other humans have done to other humans. You got to look at what you've done to yourself. You've got to look at what you've done to other people. You got to look at what other people have done to you. And that's a big portion of what we're going through spiritually now. We're not in the phase of blast my heart chakra to the moon and laugh all the time. Like you can still laugh and feel good. But remember that a lot of the spiritual themes lately is not about bliss out. It's accurately look at what's going on in front of your eyes and come to terms with it, because it's not too good looking in a lot of ways. What our egos and what we have become on the inside is not too good looking either. And it's reflected as these world events and these tragedies, is how distant humanity in general is from life and from nature. So just a way to think about it. It's just a way to think about it. But yeah, Mia says, an artificial attempt to make a utopia would fail. I agree. Exactly. Because it primarily rejects the fact that we already live in a utopia. We're just being dumb with it. Like, if imagine you still had all the roads, but you didn't train drivers, and they're basically a bunch of babies driving around crashing into each other. You would go, this is a dystopia. Even if it was already a very awesome road system and cars are awesome, but if you don't know how to use them, it's dystopian. If you know how to use the car, it's utopian. So same thing with humanity. If you know how to use the human mind body spirit complex, you know how to be, then life is a utopia. And if you don't, then you're like the child crashing the car on the freeway. It's a dystopia to use a car on a freeway. And this is what people struggle to get, is that we actually already live in a utopia. We just are fumbling the ball. We already live in utopia. We're fumbling the ball. That's kind of the message of a lot of spiritual teachers as well for centuries, is this is already the perfect world. We're just seeing our own ugly reflection in it and getting mad and barking at our own reflection. And we're unable to actually just accept that we need to do a little bit of inner work so that what is reflected back to us is pleasant to look at. You know? Julian asks, can I ask about my soul path? So we're doing Akashic Records readings for soul paths, so it's donation based. So if you go to the description, you can send one through, and then we can do an Akashic Records reading. But otherwise, I'm doing Q&A in a coaching format for people that just have more of spiritual questions in general. But I'm not going to like intuitively scan people except on the donation-based readings that come up every once in a while. And then also, we do have a free community called Circle of Wisdom, where there's a bunch of mystics and awakened people, and we meet on Zoom calls, and we support each other in the group chat, and it's very cool. So you guys should join that too. And you can find it on all my profiles. And hi, Namira. Namira said, hello, Chris, new subscriber. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's been really fun going live lately and just kind of chatting with people that pop in. Today we had a Circle of Wisdom call for Inner Circle, which is the paid version where people get access to like 6 or 7 sessions a month. And we did this energetic healing on all of our houses where we set the frequency of all of our houses to a really high level so that even when you're just kind of relaxing, your house is charging up your frequency. And for everyone that's just joining, I'm doing a Q&A for anyone that has spiritual questions. I'm a spiritual coach. I've been doing this full time for the last 5 years. And I am very intuitive, and I can tell what patterns people are stuck in because I've worked with hundreds of people. So I know the common patterns, and I know exactly the things that people need to do to pop right out of those patterns. Because it's usually not that difficult. It's just people don't know what to do. It's like if you're lost, it's not that hard to get where you need to go. You just don't know where to go. And if you knew where to go, you would walk left, right, center, and you'd be there. But if you don't have that guidance, you end up kind of going around in circles usually. So a lot of things are easy if you have someone that has figured it out to kind of hold your hand and guide you through it. And that's why I have free clarity calls as well for people that kind of want that. And it's totally free. And you can find that on all my profiles too. They're 30 minutes long on Zoom. Namira said, ooh, I came in late. It's time different in the Netherlands, maybe. Yeah, I live in Hawaii. So it is 7:30 p.m. for me. So probably for you, it's like, I don't know, Netherlands would be like 12 hours from here. So maybe like almost the morning time. Ooh, 7:35 for you as well. So we're 12 hours apart. That's pretty cool. So for the Akashic Records readings, we're doing your soul's current lesson, what to release, and who has been draining you. So those are the three things that I tap into in the readings. Mia said, good guess, Chris, for the time zone. Yeah, because I work with people from all over the world, I kind of have to know what general time zone people are in. And I guess I just like am used to it by now. Europe is usually about 12 hours from Hawaii. Hey, Jay Cookie, thanks for the likes. It helps the algorithm a lot. So thank you. It means a lot. Human world clock, Mia said. Yeah. Yeah. I hope it's useful for something. But yeah, I can schedule sessions fast. Oh, do you guys want to do an energy clearing? We can do one of my favorite breathwork energy releases. Should we do that on live? It's really, really easy. Put a 1 in the chat if we should do that. Cool. We're going to do a little meditation energy release. So if you feel a blockage inside of you, we're going to help you release it right now. So stay tuned and like the video so that more people can see it. Okay. Whew. So take a couple of deep breaths to kind of get centered. Let me shift this. So take a few deep breaths. Let me see. Does that look better? I don't know. And drop your shoulders. Try to sit in either a cross-legged position or have your feet flat on the ground and separated. And now I want you to notice in your stomach and in your chest if anything feels tense, blocked, or numb. So if anything feels tense, blocked, or numb. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a quick breathing exercise that allows you to move that blockage that you feel anywhere in your body. It's usually the stomach or the chest, though. And we're going to move it out with the breath. So what we're going to do is I'm going to say 3, 2, 1, and then you're going to breathe in for 6 seconds. And you're going to imagine the breath is moving the energy up and out. Or actually, we're just going to go up for the inhale. So the inhale, you're going to bring the energy up and hold it in your mouth. Then I'm going to count to 3, and you're going to hold the energy in your mouth for 3 seconds. And then I'm going to count to 6 again, and you're going to exhale and make a shushing noise. So like shh, almost like you're spraying it out of a canister. And you're going to imagine all that energy that was stuck in your belly or your chest is just kind of spewing out and releasing. And that's the whole breath. And we're going to do that about 2 or 3 times. Sound good? And anyone that's just joining, you can follow along. It's really easy and intuitive. We're just moving stuck energy out of the body. All right. So tune into what you want to release. It might be something in your stomach or your chest. For me, I feel something in kind of my throat, in the top of my chest. But you might feel something different. All right, 3, 2, 1. Deep inhale from the base of the spine. Energy goes up. 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold the energy in the mouth. 2, 3, and exhale. Shh. And keep shushing. Try to shush for 6 seconds. Shh. Imagine all that energy is flying out and releasing. And now breathe normally from the base of the spine, relaxing your shoulders, refreshing, and all the energy is clearing out of your home as well and going into the earth. And now we're going to tune in again to whatever you want to release. It might feel a little bit different this time, but tune into whatever you want to release, and we're going to do the breathing exercise again. So 3, 2, 1, deep breath from the base of the spine. Energy goes up. 5, 6. Hold the energy in the mouth. 2, 3, and exhale and release. 5, 6. Hold out for 2, 3. And now breathe normally, clearing all the energy out of the space around you so that you're welcomed into your harmonic and natural and authentic frequency. And now notice, you might have let go of something that was kind of hanging on to you. Maybe it wasn't yours. Maybe it was something that was one of your emotions that you hadn't processed. But either way, it's something that was good to let go of. So we're going to do it one more time. Tune into anything you want to release. Just tune into the sensation, and we're going to just imagine it flowing out. It's that simple. Try to just use your imagination to imagine it flowing out with this breath. In 3, 2, 1. Deep breath in from the base of the spine. Energy goes up. 5, 6. Hold the energy in the mouth. 2, 3, and exhale. Out. 2, 3, and allow your breath to return to normal, clearing out all the excess energy and balancing. And put in the chat, did you notice anything from that? How do you feel? Was it cool? Was it interesting? What was that like? That's one of my favorite things to do if I feel a pit of anxiety in my stomach or if I feel some sadness lingering in my heart. Beautiful. And for everyone that just joined, or let's see, for everyone that just joined, I'm offering free 30-minute clarity calls, which are one-on-one Zoom calls. So if you want to get on a Zoom call with me and you want me to kind of go over something that you're working through and see if I can help you, then you can book one of those calls. They're in the description. Namira said, I woke up ungrounded, but now I'm feeling the ground. Beautiful. Yes. Moving that stuck energy is so good for getting into a more natural rhythm with our body and grounded into the moment. So that's very cool. I love it. I love it. We also have some free Zoom calls in the Circle of Wisdom, which is a community of mine, where there's a bunch of people that are pretty similar to a lot of you, awakened people, sensitives, mystics, and we meet on Zoom calls and we go over really crazy spiritual stuff. Like we were talking about how we were clearing ghosts out of our house. We were talking about how to bless energy centers at different locations on Earth. It's like kind of crazy advanced spiritual stuff. So it's called the Circle of Wisdom. There's a light version, and you can be in that for totally free. And I would love to see you guys in there. But yeah, if you guys have any other questions, I'd love to answer them. But I am about to get going in a moment. So let me know if you have any remaining questions. And yeah, Namira, we'd love to see you in there. There's, a couple dozen people in the light version now, and we have 6 guides that are experts in different areas of life. Some are expert sound healers, some are experts at relationships and connection, some are experts at finance and business. We have people from all walks of life that help you live a very harmonious spiritual life in many different ways. Mia said, oh my God, I couldn't believe it worked. On the first try, I coughed a lot. It cleaned out my body. Wow. Blessings to you. And yeah, clear out the energy around you because it sounds like you released a lot. So like, I like to shake a blanket. That's a good way to clear energy. Get some water. I always drink water with lemon. Great work. That means you cleared something spiritual and your vibration is going to shift. So really clear the space, like set blessings on the area around you. Like say, this is a safe space for my spirit and my body and my mind, stuff like that. But great work. But yeah, when you cough and when your body reacts, that means you release something big. So great work. Great work. Awesome. If anybody has any other questions or any other shares as well before we get going, feel free. And then I'm about to hop off of here. But it was really great talking to all of you, connecting with you. It's been super fun. And I'm going to start going live every other day probably because it's just been so much fun connecting with people, doing readings and hanging out. Yeah. Thank you too, Chang. Thanks for attending. I think you've been here since the beginning. So thanks for watching. And thank you to Mia. I would love to see you guys all in Circle of Wisdom. It's totally free. We've got like 30 or 40 people in there now. And we have Zoom calls every week. And we have different prompts and journaling things. And then each guide has different donation-based offerings that they do. It's a really cool community that if you're looking for a spiritual community to be a part of and to connect with, it's a really good place to be. Namira said, thank you. I definitely will come back. Have to release a lot. Yeah, no problem. Awesome. Well, great talking with you all. Great to see you. And I will talk to you soon.